Yes, people, how's everyone doing? So obviously in this video, as you can see from the title and thumbnail, I'm guessing, we're going to go through some current some current players, and I'm just going to say whether I think they're realistic because I'm seeing some crazy names. I don't want people to get the hopes up, and we're also going to talk about the depth of the squad and what that means and why that means we need to sign players, because it's frustrating me a little bit what people are saying about we have depth when we don't. We don't have depth in a lot of positions compared to our closest rivals as well. And we have to move it around. But anyway, I'll get into that right now. Let's go. First of all, I just want to talk about these two people. These are the two names that I keep seeing. Why not go get this? Why not go get that? Because we're a championship team is the honest answer to that. We are in the championship. James McAtee played 38 times in the Premier League last season with like 10 goal involvements. Or 7 or 8 goal involvements, or something like that. He's a Manchester City youth product. He came off the bench for Manchester City the other day and Pep praised him. This guy is not coming to the Championship. He's a 25, 30 million pound player. People will say, what about on loan with an obligation to, if you go up, you buy him. From his perspective, from his reasoning now, why would you drop down? You are a player who played in the Premier League 38 times last season. He's not a player who went to Sheffield United and didn't play. He played. He played a lot of minutes. And in certain games, he was very good and showed what he can do. There is zero reason why he would drop down to the Championship, even on loan. He could go to any of the bottom half, maybe apart from maybe 2 or 3 Premier League teams, and be a main player in their team. We are not there. We are not that level. We simply are not, unfortunately. We will not get James McAtee. If we did, and let me say this, if we did, I'd be questioning genuinely his agent, because he has no business moving to the Championship. He could play the Premier League right now. Why would he wait 4 or 5 months on loan in the Championship when he can play in the Premier League? Evan Ferguson, and he's on wages, by the way. Evan Ferguson, another one, exact same reason. 2 seasons ago, this guy scored 16 goals in 32 games for Brighton. He's had injuries, he's had form issues, he is not dropping to the Championship. He's still so young. These guys are not 26, 27, and they've not quite hit it the last 3 or 4 years. He's had 1.5 bad years. His form's dropped off a little bit. This guy is not going to the Championship. This guy will be wanted by Champions League clubs. Both of them might be wanted by Champions League clubs. James McAtee was linked to Newcastle and West Ham. Teams at the bottom of the Premier League would even struggle. The Ipswichers, for example, Southampton, even they would struggle to get these players in. We are a Championship team. Please, let's realise that. So anyone that mentions these 2 guys in an article, don't believe it. Look, if it happens, oh my days, I would be like, all right, we are more serious than most Premier League teams, which is, hey, let's do it. But it's not happening. I'm very confident on that. But I wish it does. Imagine that happened. It would be like playing a video game. Unrealistic signings. And we are levels above. But when it ain't happening. So we need to realise this. And the other one I want to talk about is Will Buendia. Like, this one isn't as wild as those 2. But we're not getting him, in my opinion. The reasons being, he's 27. Again, he's not playing based on injury. He struggled to get back in a side that when he left, before his injury was not in the Champions League, he's coming back to a side after injury that is in the Champions League. So there's more options, there's more squad depth. He's not a Championship player. He's a mid-level Premier League player. He could go to a team in that middle of the Premier League, fighting for Europe, easily. He's not in form because he's had injuries. He's had 1 bad injury. He, at his age now, will not want to drop to the Championship, nor would he see any reason to drop to the Championship again, because he could play in the Premier League. So we're not getting these guys. Sorry. If we do, I will apologise, because that's what you have to do on YouTube. It's all about certain things. I don't care. But the fact of the matter is, these guys are at a level that is not the Championship. We have to realise that. We have to realise that. The Championship is really good for players that are in the league and want to go to a team that are almost in the Premier League, or leagues where players want to get in the Premier League, but they're not in a position where they're in a high enough league to impress Premier League sides that don't want to take the risk because they're in a lower league. So they come to the Championship, a top team in the Championship, and then get promoted with them that way. That's what we need to look at. The transfer window is so hard, as Daniel Farker said, in January, if your market is Premier League. Of course it is. Because you're asking players to drop in the middle of a season. Based on what? Based on a bad few months? Based on a bad year? Most players don't want to do that. Especially players that we require. Our squad, our 11 or 14, 15 is very, very good. So getting a loan from the Premier League in whatever position is not a guarantee that they'll play. There is zero reason why they would want to drop for not guaranteed game time. Buendia obviously does, but the point being he's a Premier League player, people. He's not a Championship player. He will not himself want to drop down to the Championship. It won't happen. I'm saying it right now. I'm putting it on the line and I don't care. I think that's what's going to happen. Let's talk about the depth. So I've been saying I want a 10 and I'd like a centre-back. And the reason is this, and people keep telling me we have depth, we have rotation. The problem with centre-back is this, we do not have depth. So you've got to look at it like this, right? Let's identify our players. Let's really identify our players. Our full-back cover is starting right now at left-back. That's our full-back cover. Schmidt isn't playing. Whatever reason we think about that, that's not this video. He's not playing. That's the matter. That's the fact. He's not playing. Doesn't want to play. Firpo is injured. Currently on the way back. The problem for me is the centre-back role. Why? Because the only option to put in centre-back, people talk about James De Bayo, isn't ready yet. Take him out a sec. He's not played hardly a minute this season. We have one spare centre-back. Now, people are going to mention Ampadu. I understand that. But the problem with Ampadu is he's our 6. I don't want a situation where our rotation is a player that is already playing on the pitch. Our rotation option should be a player that isn't playing. Because you take Ampadu out of the 6, you've then got to switch midfield around. It should be 1-for-1. I don't like the idea that you're putting square pegs round holes. We cried about all in the Premier League, so now suddenly we're all right with it. I'm not all right with it. Our rotation option should not be a player who is currently a very important player in our midfield. That shouldn't be our option, our spare option at centre-back. Our spare option at centre-back right now is Max Fober. The problem with Max Fober is he's been injured all season. He's also our left-back cover right now because Schmidt isn't trusted. Schmidt isn't trusted. Firpo isn't fit yet. He's our option. Byram can't play 3 times in a week. We saw him get took off. So he's our only left-back option in terms of what we'll play right now because he ain't playing Schmidt. So that's what this defence looks like. One injury from Bogle, which we saw. We're taking our 6, who didn't start the game, but will when he's really fit, into right back. Our best player into right back. He's not a right back. He doesn't look comfortable at right back. I don't like him at right back. Our defence is so thin, ridiculously thin. Every fix in our defence is moving a player out of position. If you are in this situation, all right, we'll put Voba there then. Say Strauch's injured, right? Voba can go there. Okay, good. You got Ampadu in the 6. Hopefully, and you're hoping right now that Byram is fine, and you're hoping that Firpo is back. And then you're looking all right. But then who's the depth then? Who's the depth? The only depth option, again, I'll go back to it, Ampadu. Goes out of midfield. I don't want him out of midfield. I know people are going to be saying De Bayo, he's got a really good future, James De Bayo, but he isn't ready. And the fact of the matter is, he shouldn't be our only backup centre-back option. That's not good. We need more. And here's an example. This is our promotion rivals, Burnley. Look at the state of their depth at the back. Look at the state of that. That's a joke. And this is not their numbers or anything, by the way. I've just put them in a random order. I know he doesn't start. I know Egan starts here. Yeah, fine. Look at the state of their depth, though. If Esteve gets injured, Stick Humphries in there, Ekdal in there, he gets injured, they've got Egan or Worrell. They have options. Now, don't get me wrong, and there's 2 injured players in there with Bayer and Delectrux. Sorry, I can't say that name. My point being, there's options. Now, I think that's too many. Don't get me wrong, that's too many. But the point is, they are never, ever, all season, going to go into midfield to put into centre-back. Because they have centre-backs there. They don't have to move an important piece from midfield into a different position. Why should we need to do that? Just bring in the centre-back. Maybe a young guy or a really experienced guy, one of the two, who knows their role in the team and knows that he is backup in case someone is injured. And he can come straight in. You don't have to move anything around. Perfect. That's my problem. And just look, they've got 8 more players than us. It's January the 2nd. They've already brought in Son and they've brought in Barnes. I'll go through their squad. Midfield, they're similar to us, yeah. The wingers, they have more options, but ours are better. Even in the 10, they've got different profile. Ramsey will be back. When Ramsey's back, he's a good player. Very good player. Hannibal, we know what he can do. Fleming is that different option. I loved him at Leeds, by the way. He's that 10 that we don't have. That powerful 10 that can build play up, get in the box and shoot. We don't have that. They have good options there. Up front, when Foster's back, Barnes is there. The other 2 guys, obviously we know Rodriguez. I don't really know about this guy. But they've got options that are willing to play for the team. Full back options are good. This guy was from PSV. Perez, I believe he's from Santos. They've got Connor Roberts and they've got Son. Point being, if there's an injury at the back, they have others that can come in. If there's an injury at left back, they've got a natural left back that can come in. If there's an injury to Roberts, Son comes in. You know? If there's an injury to Hannibal, Fleming comes in. When Ramsey's back, he'll come in. Anthony goes out, Sarmiento's in. Koleosho goes out, Redmond, Ajayi, or Benson's in when he's back. I don't like their options. I think ours are better. Don't get me wrong. But the point being, and our wing's fine. That's not an issue for us. It's mainly this area. I think they have too many, but we don't have enough. We need 1 more. That's why we need a 10. And if the manager doesn't trust Schmidt yet, then you've got to take that into account. If he's not at the level, do something about it. You know? I said this in my last video. I don't want us to be in a position where every resolve to what we have is moving a key player out of another position. That's not depth, people. That's not depth. So, and let's take... Crew isn't going to play this season. De Bayo isn't going to play much this season. You know, you take Ampadu out of the 6. We're going back to Tanaka Rothwell, which is absolutely fine, by the way. It's moving a key cog that brings real good attributes to your team in that role. It's the same if Aronson's out. Who the hell do you put in the 10? Chambers, a young player, isn't going to play. They're academy players. Who do you do? It's Perot. Not natural there. Doesn't suit it. A winger? Fine. Doesn't suit it. Point being, they're wingers. Get a spare 10. Get a spare centre-back. Don't leave yourself short. We only have 8 or 9 more players than us. 9. It's 9 more options. I don't care. Look, our 11's really good. It is. But we're 1 or 2 injuries away from moving 3 or 4 pieces around and moving key players out of positions. I don't want that to happen. You've got the smallest squad in the league. I keep saying this. That's not a good thing. It's good to not have a huge squad. 24 people. You can get 2 or 3, 1 or 2. Make it 25, 26. Then you've got 2 per position and 2 or 3 spare. Brilliant. Absolutely fine. And the last resort then can be Ampadu at centre-back. Last resort can be a winger in the 10. Last resort can be, you know, whoever at full-back, Ampadu at full-back, whatever. Make that the last resort, not the next resort. Because 1 injury and we're moving someone else. I don't like it. Yeah, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate all the support as usual. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye bye.